Hey guys, coming up next, a market watch update. How's that reserve list doing with all the bling bling hitting the market? Let's find out. Hey guys, welcome back. MTG Moxman here. If you're new to my channel and you're somehow finding me out there in the cyber universe that is YouTube, well, thanks a lot for taking the time to check out that content today. Alright guys, I do upload content 7 days a week. Smash that subscribe button, join in the fun, and hey, hold the line on the reserve list cards. We ain't giving them up anytime soon. Now, with all the cool stuff with Modern Horizons, you've seen some of my videos I put out, and of course, Dungeons and Dragons spoilers was huge. I love doing that video. But let's get back to reality here. These are still reprintable products that Wizards is pumping out. So I wanted to take a second to go back and see how this reflects on the reserve list, see if any changes have started to occur and what we're seeing in the marketplace. Now, there has been some movement in certain items. I thought we'd go over that today and have a little fun because the funny thing is whenever a new product comes out, a big one, Double Masters, Modern Horizons type products, a lot of the money shifts that direction. And people forget about the reserve list. And that's why I did the first video saying, hold your wallet, get the singles. Because unless you're going to seal a box up and hold it, it's very hard to double up your profit margin on, like I've told you before, to double profit rule, that you must get double what you put in. Okay, that's the minimum. Everything else is gravy. So on our blue chip stock reserve list, you know it's stable. A lot of these products are going to crash and burn when they come out. They're going to fall to the bottom and certain cards will go up. So why get into the whole thing of buying a box and cracking it and hoping? You don't have to hope with the reserve list. It's stable. Let's take a look here. We got Time Vault up first today. Now, Time Vault has an average price of $1,300 in Canada, $1,200 in the EU, $1,200 in the USA, making the US, again, the best place to buy that product. Now, the sales are slow, and it is drifting down. You can find a collector edition for around the $500-600 mark for a beat-up copy. And you can find some slightly lower prices, even on the Unlimiteds, okay? If you're looking for the $1,200 range, they did have a couple in Canada. They're pretty beat up, but they're there. And it just shows from that high of $1,500, we are drifting down slowly over this last few weeks. And part of that is just because this is a very limited format. It's got, 93, 94, Legacy. It's kind of minimalized, but it's an amazing card. So it's never going to drift all the way down. So although it's slow, it's going to be there for you, okay? It's going to be a long-term with amazing artwork. This card is key for a lot of players to have. And if you wait a few more weeks, you might be in that price range to grab one, so hold on tight. I will keep you guys informed of what's going on. All right, next one is Anvil of Bogarden. Okay, now this one here, I've been following for a while. I have a couple of copies myself. I barely ever used it as a teenager, you know. A few little side games here. I think we used the Time Elemental to like unsummon this from Legends. So at the end of their turn, when they suffered the consequence of having to discard, we would, of course, go ahead, slap it up into our hands, and then put it down during my turn. So you kind of like always keep it phased out, per se. Now, at $66 Canadian, $44 in the EU, $55 in the USA. Again, US, cheapest way to go. But this one has strong sales. A lot of people are picking up this card and holding on to it. And, of course, look at the artwork. Like, need we say more, right? So you're going to see a card like this drift up. I've kept a trend on this one. It is on my price watch list. This is going to go to $100, but you're not looking at that till 2024 is what my sheet says. So it's going to be a while. You got years for this thing to grow further, just as people start to recognize a lot of the Visions cards are underrated, by the way. They're just lower than they should be. It's our time to take advantage, right? Now, our next card up today, City of Solitude. This one saw lots of play when I was a kid. Oh, I remember this card so well, okay? So you can only play spells on your turn. So it just neutralized counterspell decks. It neutralized all kinds of things you wanted to play on other people's turns, especially with like interrupts and stuff back in the day. Now, the average price on this at $45 Canadian, $32 in the US, $21.50 EU. This actually is falling in right where I want to see it. All three prices in all three places of the world seem to kind of match up nice, but the sales are slow, even though that artwork is just killer when you see it. This is a slow sale product. Again, it's Visions. People don't realize how good the cards are yet. It's going to take a long time to get there. So let things like this, although it's slow, these prices are quite stable. It's selling at this rate quite consistently, just in a slow way. So you might want to see if this drifts down a bit. Any card in Visions you're looking at, you might want to see if it drifts down so you can grab it later on to add to your personal collection of reserve list cards. Pretty cool, though, to see that it's still stable. I'd like to see it go a little higher. My sheet does not have it tracking higher, by the way. I have it sitting there at $50 for like 5 years. All right. Sands of Time. Now, this card, I only saw it used once or twice. It was very kind of a funky card even back in the day. You can always tell a Magic card is funky when it's got all kinds of cool text box writing. Now, the average price, $11.50 in Canada, $5.50 EU, $9.99 US. Again, it falls right in that range where all three are kind of like the same. It has strong sales. People are buying this card because it's so cheap. Now, basically, it's 4 to get out, and whatever you don't tap, taps next turn. So if you attack with 4 creatures and left 2 blockers, well, next turn you get to untap the 4 creatures, but the 2 blockers become tapped. So it kind of reverses back and forth for all your permanents on the battlefield. So this does have a use, especially if you can find a way to manipulate it to get it off the board. So you're messing up their board state, but not yours. So it is a fairly decent card to think about getting. And at that price range, you're not hurting yourself at all. $10, get 4 of them for $40-50. Call it a day. Get near mint copies, okay? Again, Vision's underrated at this point. And again, with new flashy products, I want you guys to understand. I want you guys to understand something. There are players who only buy reserve lists. There's a core group who only buy reserve. That's what they want. There are a bunch of players who only play the modern formats, okay? And then there are players who bridge back and forth. But it's still one giant pool of money that Hasbro has to draw upon from the modern players. Reserve list players are always in the secondary market. Hasbro's not usually getting a lot of their money. So this one giant pool of money, when it drifts into the reserve list, Hasbro's profits goes down. And then when they put a cool product out, that money drifts back out because they're attracted to the new product, okay? It's kind of those drifters, whereas reserve list players tend to stay in one little pool if they're just reserve list. So when you look at these products and you realize there's only so much money to go around, Wizards really will come up with ideas of copying cards to the best of their ability without breaking the rules they've set. That's what they're going to keep doing. So you might see players get really attracted to these new products. The bling, the FOMO, right? Got to be careful. That's why I keep warning people. It's like, hey, pay attention to what you got. All right, so our next card up today is going to be, that's right, Natural Selection. One of my all-time amazing favorite cards out there, okay? 1 green to use, instant speed. Guy looks like a bird right out of, like, you know, the Egyptian days. He's holding this orb, and it lets you rearrange somebody's library. Very cool. I used to mess people up all the time when things were a little bit simpler. Now, and also the cards weren't as well defined. There was lots of cards that crept into other points, like control decks and red burn decks. These decks had a lot more flexibility back in the day, as opposed to how they do them nowadays. So green being able to manipulate the top of somebody's library was very cool. And I used it all the time. And when you look at these prices, $300 Canadian, $139 in the EU, $255 in the US, right? But the sales are slow. Let's face it, people don't usually use this card. You know, it's one of my all-time favorites for artwork, for what it does. It's a slow sale day, man. This card is not moving fast. It jumped up a lot in the reserve list. I went back and looked at my price sheet. I didn't have it hitting $200 till 2022. And you can already see it's into the 300 Canadian. So I sit there and go, okay, so the card's jumped up because of the buyout. But now it's kind of settling in, and it is selling at these prices, so it's going to stay pretty stable, but it's going to be very slow in its movement, okay? It's not going to be like jumping out to like do crazy stuff. So if you're looking for this card, wait to see if it drifts down or go for a collector edition copy because they're a little bit cheaper to still grab. I think you can get for like 70, 80 bucks still. Now, our last card to talk about today is going to be Moat from Legends. Now, I'll be honest, I don't like this card. I didn't like it as a kid when it was played against me. I didn't like using it when I had it in a deck. There was just something about it that annoyed me. Now, it's an amazing card. There are lots of cards that kind of imitate it now, and people build whole decks. I used to call them stronghold decks, where all they do is just hold you off, hold you off, hold you off, until they can like flip your deck out and stuff. So, you know, non-flying creatures not being able to attack is kind of crazy, right? And this was brutal back in the day since most creatures were on the ground, right? So, $1,500 Canadian, $1,200 in the EU, and $1,350 in the US. You know, it falls right in that price range again. I like that. Now, again, the sales are slow. This product, this card in particular, is not jumping out to move fast, right? As a product, it's like, we understand it, we love it, but we're not paying that kind of price all the time. So you're looking at 1 or 2 sales in a week. It's kind of slow, but they are very stable. People recognize the value of this card. They understand this is what this card costs to buy.
Hey guys, big shout out to all my patrons out there. You guys are amazing. That's right, 4,000 subscribers. We made it, man.
Pretty
I'm putting it on this little part of the video here. I look forward to seeing you guys the live stream.
So I just want to let you guys know this is what I have for you today. I hope you guys enjoyed the Market Watch video from the reserve list. And remember, guys, we hit 4,000 subscribers. Looking forward to seeing everyone at the live stream tomorrow. We're going to have some fun. Just kick back, eat some pie. I'm going to look forward to it, okay? Thanks a lot for tuning in. This is MTG Moxman. Looking forward to seeing everyone there. And smash that subscribe button, man. Join in the fun, because now we are headed to 5,000 subscribers. And after that, I don't know what I'm going to do, because 5 was the goal. So we're going to get there. We're going to get there together. Thank you, everyone who supported. Looking forward to it. $4,000 subscribers. It's actually over 4,000. I gotta take this and just. That's it. We're 4,000. Now I guess I need a whole new sheet, and we gotta start counting down from 5,000 guys, and then after that I had no goals. So we'll talk as a community. Crazy. We're gonna have a pie party. Yeah.